Alright, it's been 3 years since the release of the legendary Redmi Note 10 Pro. I could remember then when you could get this device for 125,000 naira. It was the first Redmi phone with an AMOLED display, IR blaster, and a whole lot of other features we get nowadays. And if you remember, it was always sold out. That's just a testament of how good the Redmi Note 10 Pro was. Anyways, moving on 3 years later, it is still quite hard to beat the Redmi Note 10 Pro in all departments. I can even say since the release of the Redmi Note 10 Pro, Redmi devices have gotten higher in price, partly due to inflation, and they have gotten significantly lesser value. But hey, don't take my word for it. Let's compare the latest Redmi Note 14 Pro coming at a price of roughly 400,000 naira to the one and only Redmi Note 10 Pro. Kicking things off with design and build quality. The Redmi Note 10 Pro is made out of glass at the back and a plastic frame, which at the time was definitely premium. Even till now, it still looks premium. While the Redmi Note 14 Pro rocks a plastic back or a vegan leather back with a plastic frame as well. Glass is definitely more premium when compared to plastic, but one could argue that the vegan leather option is also nice. But in all honesty and personally, I still think the Redmi Note 10 Pro with the glass back still looks more premium. However, it has a lower IP53 splash and dust resistant rating as opposed to IP64 on the Redmi Note 14 Pro. One thing I would suggest for the upcoming Redmi Note 15 series, that is the Redmi Note 15 Pro especially and upwards, is an aluminum frame. I mean, Samsung is their competitor at this level, and Samsung provides an aluminum frame on their most highest, that is the A55 or is it the A56 lineup. So I think Redmi can also do this. I mean, we are paying a lot of money at the end of the day. You guys should spoil us a little bit, but hey, that's just me. Alright, let's talk display. Funnily enough, the display hasn't really improved a whole lot in these past 3 years. On the Redmi Note 10 Pro, we get a 6.67-inch display with a resolution of 1080 by 2400 pixels with support for a 120Hz refresh rate, HDR10, a peak brightness of 1200 nits, and a protection of Corning Gorilla Glass 5. While on the Redmi Note 14, we have the same screen size at 6.67 inches, same 1080p resolution, same 120Hz refresh rate, but with an upgraded base and max brightness of 1800 nits and a protection of Corning Gorilla Glass Victus 2. That said, scrolling or just operating the display is definitely more responsive on the Redmi Note 14 Pro, but when it comes to viewing content, they are pretty much the same, except when it comes to outdoor viewing content, then you get the benefits of the brighter display on the Redmi Note 14 Pro. Overall, the Redmi Note 14 Pro has a better display. Now, let's move on to performance, which is quite surprising that the Redmi Note 10 Pro of 3 years ago has pretty much the same performance as the just released Redmi Note 14 Pro. This is a testament of how good Snapdragon chips are, since you get the Snapdragon 732G on the Redmi Note 10 Pro, while you get the MediaTek Helio G100 Ultra on the Redmi Note 14 Pro. Gaming is also better on the Redmi Note 10 Pro. The Snapdragon chipset has been optimized a whole lot over the years, so you can get max frame rates in Call of Duty Mobile and high graphics, which the Redmi Note 14 Pro can't give you. Heck, even the Redmi Note 10 Pro could play Genshin Impact at the time of release, which just speaks volumes on how powerful this device was at launch. Storage is just about the same on both phones. The Redmi Note 14 has higher storage options, that is up to 12GB of RAM and 512GB of storage, while the Redmi Note 10 Pro goes up to 8GB of RAM and 256GB of storage. But the key factor here is the fact that both phones use exactly the same RAM type and storage type, that is LPDDR4X and UFS 2.2. Honestly, this feels like lazy work from Redmi. They could have easily given us LPDDR5X and maybe let's say UFS 3.1 storage on these devices if we are not pushing it too much. So yeah, I hope in their future devices, that is the Redmi Note 15 or 60 series, they consider this and give us faster storage options. Software is an area where the Redmi Note 14 Pro is expected to do better, and yes, it does, but not by much. Honestly, MIUI on the Redmi Note 10 Pro looks just as good as HyperOS on the Redmi Note 14 Pro. Frankly, only the AI features are the most notable improvements within these past 3 years. Like, can you imagine? That said, overall, the Redmi Note 14 Pro has a better and newer software at Android 14. It should get Android 15 sometime this year, while the Redmi Note 10 Pro is stuck as Android 13. It came out in Android 11 or thereabouts, so 2 years of Android OS updates, which is still fine. To be honest, Android 13 is still usable in this day and age. But hey, we're comparing everything here, so I just have to tell you that the software on the Redmi Note 14 Pro is better. I mean, it's newer at the end of the day. Newer is sometimes better. Powering the Redmi Note 14 Pro is a 5500 mAh battery which is capable of 45 watts fast charging. It is definitely better than the 5020 mAh battery we got on the Redmi Note 10 Pro. Even if you can get the Redmi Note 10 Pro in good working condition nowadays, that is new, brand new, which I doubt you could, it's still not going to be as good as the Redmi Note 14 Pro in terms of battery life. That's just how batteries work. Larger capacity is usually better. Plus, over the years, the one on the Redmi Note 10 Pro would have degraded. So yeah, there's no way you're beating the Redmi Note 14 Pro in terms of battery with your Redmi Note 10 Pro. Alright, let's talk cameras. The Redmi Note 10 Pro houses a quad camera setup which includes a 108 megapixel main, 8 megapixel ultra wide, 5 megapixel macro and 2 megapixel depth camera. While on the Redmi Note 14 Pro, it has an upgraded 200 megapixel main camera, 8 megapixel ultra wide and 2 megapixel macro camera. Here are some photo samples. Let me know which is better in the comment section right below that like button. Also, the Redmi Note 14 Pro has a 32 megapixel selfie camera as opposed to the 16 megapixel selfie camera on the Redmi Note 10 Pro. Both selfie cameras are capable of shooting videos at 1080p 30 frames per second, while at the rear, the Redmi Note 10 Pro can shoot videos at 4K 30 frames per second, which the Redmi Note 14 Pro cannot, even though it has a higher megapixel count when it comes to the camera, which I still don't understand why. Like, why can't this phone shoot at 4K resolution? It's just, oh my god, it is well. Overall, when it comes to camera as a whole, the Redmi Note 14 is better, but you can argue that the Redmi Note 10 Pro is just as good or even better 90% of the time. Let's talk about the little things. The Redmi Note 14 Pro has an under-display fingerprint scanner which is more modern compared to the side-mounted fingerprint scanner on the Redmi Note 10 Pro. It has Dolby Atmos sound support, which is a higher quality sound protocol, especially when compared to what we have on the Redmi Note 10 Pro. At the end of the day, the Redmi Note 10 Pro is a fantastic device, even still usable in 2025, especially when you're comparing it to Redmi's latest offerings. And I hope Redmi sees this as a wake-up call for them to, you know, push better and go back to who they were before. I mean, Redmi is a brand that is known for giving you insane value at a very cheap price. Now, I know inflation and everything is at play yet, but still, this device was created in 2020, 2021, 2021, and it's still holding up in this year. Like, that's just a testament of how good the Redmi Note 10 Pro is. But yeah, let me know your own thoughts in the comment section. And yeah, okay, well, yeah, you can't really get the Redmi Note 10 Pro in 2025 anymore. But if you would choose, or if you could, would you get it over the Redmi Note 14 Pro? Let us know in the comments. And yeah, would you buy the Redmi Note 14 Pro? Also let us know in the comment section. Thanks for watching and catch you guys in the next one. Peace.